The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and this is Early Mornings LALATE. $1,400 third stimulus checks landed in bank accounts this week, but in a few weeks, reoccurring $1,400 stimulus checks could be landing every month. In this major Early Mornings broadcast, I break down all the details about the fourth stimulus check and fourth stimulus package. You just finished the third stimulus, but away we go into fourth stimulus. I'll go over the new comments from Joe Manchin earlier this week, middle of this week, and then the end of this week. A lot of stuff from Joe Manchin about fourth stimulus. And I'll go over the breaking developing details yesterday, as California saw a major surge of unemployment claims and the whole country saw unemployment go through the roof. What's going on, and what does this mean for your fourth stimulus package? New video from the White House. Not one, but three videos you need to watch. First, the press secretary answers questions about the Joe Manchin op-ed yesterday that talks about the recon of your fourth stimulus check bill. Then the press secretary answers questions about that massive new lawsuit by Governor DeSantis about stimulus, CDC, and more. And then new video from one of the president's cabinet members who's pushing for fourth stimulus. We'll analyze all the details about fourth stimulus, the speed issue, who gets a stimulus, how they get it done, and also the big money. There's a lot of money at stake in fourth stimulus, and I'll break down all the numbers across the board. Let's get to it, and this is Early Mornings LALATE. Mornings LALATE. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering. The waves are crashing. I'm here, you're here, and Joe Manchin probably has something to say about me as well. Joe Manchin probably has something to say about you too. So Joe Manchin has something to say about the breakfast, the bacon, the lettuce, the salad. He has a comment about everything. So if you're Joe Manchin, drop in the comments below. I love to read your comment tomorrow. It's one of those days that's like, Joe, just tell me what's on your chest. Can you just get off your chest with me, Joe? Mr. Manchin, can you just... Thank you for joining me on Early Mornings LA. I'm going to break down that fourth stimulus check and that fourth stimulus package and the impact of Joe Manchin's comments. There is none. And explain to you where we're going this morning. It's an easy breezy, lighthearted, fun recording. And I miss the days in which I said, and there's a live chat over there. I mean, every show has a live chat now, but I do miss saying that. So you can interact with your Purple Power buddies during this live interactive chat. There's a wonderful group of people who tune in every morning on Early Mornings LA. There's an even better group that tunes in for EITL before that at FUC. If you missed those are now archived on the channel. So interact with the family. Say hello to new faces if you don't recognize new faces. And if you're just becoming a member, become a member. The link's at the top of the chat, the pinned comment, also in the video. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, because now we're focused on fourth stimulus, and away we go. You don't want to miss a single penny across the board. It's free to subscribe. It's costly to miss money. And also like this video. Let's try to do 3,000 likes. Let's go to what started yesterday morning, Thursday morning. Wow. I mean, who saw this coming? The new unemployment numbers released every Thursday morning came in, and Wall Street thought it was going to be better than the week before. The week before is not particularly good, and they said, it'll probably be better. Well, they were wrong. It wasn't better. In fact, it wasn't the same as last week. In fact, it was worse than last week, and last week was bad. Wait a second, this don't make sense, because last Friday, the jobs numbers came in, and it was absolutely incredible. If this sounds bizarre, it is. Let me explain what this means for you in that fourth stimulus check. For stimulus check is a stimulus check. It's to stimulate the economy. Well, no one's going to stimulate the economy if jobs are restored and people are back to normal. We all understand that. The question is when. When are the jobs restored? When are people back to normal? We are always told by the President of the United States, his Treasury Secretary, the Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, and myself, that jobs would not be restored until early next year, maybe January, February, or March. It takes a lot of time to restore all those jobs. But then last Friday, the jobs numbers came in. They're expecting 300,000 new jobs created, and that would take, 8 million jobs missing. That's 16 months. We're into next year. Well, the number came in last Friday, a week ago today, and it showed 1 million jobs created in the month of March. Oh boy. That means that in 8 months, the jobs could be restored, not 16 months. And then there was this. A series of analysts on Wall Street said, get ready for this month's numbers, which will be released at the end of the month of April. April's jobs numbers could show that there were 2 million jobs restored this month of April as more states relax and reopen for business. 2 million jobs, if that's true, restored in the month of April means that in 4 months, you could be back to normal. This is everything for those stimulus checks, multiple stimulus checks. Let's jump right at the number right away to understand how much money is at stake. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and it's important to understand the money at issue. The stimulus checks would run from the summer, when the bill becomes law, to the end of the year. What month would it start? How does it work? Okay, there's a couple things we absolutely do know and a couple things we don't know. First of all, we don't know when it's going to finally become a law, but they are calling for a vote presumably around July. But let's say they got it by June and they got that check out by July. This time they got the checks out in a few weeks. July to December, 6 months. They want the checks to go to the end of the year. That is one thing they want. They also want the checks to resemble something along the lines of what's going on right now. Well, word on the street is the checks would be $2,000 a month or $1,400 a month. Look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. If you got $1,400 a month for 6 months, that's $8,400. That's what they want to give you. Who is they? 21 of 50 Democrats in the Senate. And they're saying they're going to do it, and they're going to go to the mat to do it. If it's $2,000 a month, which is another number on the street, word on the street, that would be $12,000. These are per person numbers you're looking at. Now, immediately, someone's going to probably ask, who qualifies for this? Who gets this? Do I get this money? Yep. If you got the third stimulus check, you get this money. Here are what those Democratic senators have as guidelines. First, they want the guidelines to be the same as the third stimulus package, exactly the same. So if you make less than $75,000 in your most recent tax year, you get a stimulus check. If you have a household, it would be up to 4 people, husband and wife, 2 kids, for example. If you're on SSI and SSDI, Social Security and Railroad benefits, you would get this. You would get this every single month. One viewer asked me, is it income? No, it's not income. It doesn't qualify towards income. Again, let's look at back this number. This is per person. Per person. So a family of 4, if it's $2,000, that would be $8,000 per family per month. Yes. And before you think that that's too much money, guess what? The president wants to give $64,000 per child quietly and paying them $250 a month for 18 years under an extension of the child tax credit for 18 years, lifetime. So this is not an unusual sum of money. So you understand the income qualifications. You understand who gets it. The next big questions are the speed issue and then the process. How do you actually get this to the finish line? Let's go back to that speed issue, which is what I was talking about. The speed issue is dependent upon the economy needing it. If the economy's rebounded, you don't need stimulus. Okay, well, the economy's not rebounded. But on Friday, that jobs number, which is released once per month, which details how many jobs are created, showed 1 million jobs created. 8 months were restored. Okay, 8 months is not this summer. That's far before June or July when the bill we get to the Senate. Oh, but then there was that other series of analyst reports on Friday that said we could see 2 million jobs generated this month because businesses are reopening, states are reopening. 4 months. The economy could be restoring those 8 million jobs. 2 million a month, if that's true, over 4 months, 8 months, those jobs could be restored. What does this mean for you? 4 months from now is about July. You don't want this bill in the Senate around when the jobs are restored. Because guess what? Those Democrats may get cold feet and not want to give you those stimulus checks. So let's look at the big issue about speed. You don't want the jobs restored. Number three, you don't want those jobs restored to this economy before the stimulus bill is voted upon, because no one's going to give you stimulus checks if the jobs are restored. At the moment, they're missing. 8 million are missing. Get the bill done now. There are 8 million jobs missing. Second, economic rebound. You don't want the economy to rebound before they vote on the stimulus package bill. And finally, monthly. This is Captain Obvious and Sirloin walking through the set, holding hands. Every month you don't get a stimulus check, it's a check you don't get. I mean, that's sort of obvious. That's sort of obvious. But here's what you need to know. Is the economy rebounding or not rebounding? We saw those great jobs numbers last Friday, but wait a second. Then this, yesterday. Oh my God. Yesterday, the unemployment numbers came in every Friday. Remember, 2 numbers come in on Friday. New unemployment numbers, people who newly went on unemployment, and continuing unemployment, people who continue to be unemployed. Here's the first number, the new unemployment, people who newly went on unemployment. Look at how bad this number is. This is the antithesis of the jobs number. Jobs numbers last Friday, great. This number, horrible. This is the big ammunition to get stimulus checks out the door, reoccurring stimulus check. This is good news and ammunition and reason to do monthly stimulus checks. Look how bad this number is. Last week, the number of jobs in the prior week, the number of new unemployment claims last week was 728. Wall Street expecting this Thursday to come at 694. They were expecting to improve. Well, it didn't improve. In fact, it wasn't even the same as last week. It got worse. It came in as 744,000 jobs, new jobless claims. That's almost 50,000 more than the week before. If you've been with this channel for the last 40-something weeks, we're approaching our 1-year anniversary, you've heard me detail new jobless claims of 800,000, 700,000, a million per week. This number is just not improving. We're almost approaching 40 weeks of this. And then there's this number. Continuing unemployment claims. This is the one that might be even more significant, says Yellen and your Treasury Secretary, and Jerome Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve. They look at how many people have long-term unemployment. They're still not getting back to work. They don't have jobs. Well, look at this number. 3.73 million continuing unemployment claims. It only improved a little bit, 16,000. That's nothing. That's nominal. That's basically a bad number. And then when we look at this number, California last week, 39,000 new people on unemployment who have never been on unemployment before. Let me make this number clear to you. This is not people who got that strange EDD California unemployment email that says, please reapply and certify. And yeah, I've heard about that email. Other states are sending out that strange email. That's not this. This is people who have never been unemployed. 39,000 new unemployment claims. New York, 17,000 new unemployment claims. Other states showed some improvement. Alabama, 14,000. Ohio, 10,000 new people off unemployment. So very confusing. Meantime, on the move, as Sir Lloyd would say, Apple on the move yesterday after some production delays about MacBook and iPads. Twitter on the move after talks about reportedly trying to buy Clubhouse for $4 billion, but that fell apart. And then Constellation Brands, which is STZ, the maker of Corona beer, beat Wall Street estimates. Drink to that one. It's just very confusing. Is this economy doing well? Is it not doing well? What's going on here? And then you have Jamie Dimon's statement. He's head of JP Morgan Chase, one of the biggest banks in the United States. He said we're in the middle of a big economic boom. And then we saw this week the FANG stocks, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, doing really well. Why is this so confusing? It's because it's hard to gauge this economy. The very simple takeaway is it's a strange economy. We don't know if it's rebounding or we don't know if it isn't rebounding. The jobs numbers Thursday were horrible. The jobs numbers the following Friday were great. For you, you want this bill in the Senate as soon as possible. You don't want to risk this. It's too easy to sit back and say, no, we're going to be fine. We're going to have missing jobs for a year. Oh, no, we could be totally blindsided and suddenly all the jobs could be restored. And then suddenly we say, oh, can we have some stimulus checks? No, the jobs are restored. You want this bill in the Senate as soon as possible. Let's go back to that routing. And then I'm going to cut to the surprising developing details about Joe Manchin. Here we go. Here's the speed issue. You want that bill in the Senate as fast as possible for economic rebound. Now, how do they get this check done, and how does this work? I'll be going over that just in a second. Let me explain the process of it. But first, let me go back to the numbers, because it's moolah. It's moolah. Moolah. How much money is this? Well, we know the following details. From the point it becomes law to the end of the year, that's every month, the stimulus check. If they got it done by June, the checks go out in July. That's 6 months. 6 months per person. How much would the stimulus check be? They have not said that number. Word on the street would be $1,400 or $2,000. Look at this. This is enormous. This is huge. This is an enormous payout. This is the largest single payout that this channel has ever detailed for an individual. I think I've done the children's check at $3,600. That was huge. But I've certainly done the EIDL grant, but that's a little bit different. That's for a business. This is the biggest single payout I have ever covered on this channel, ever. And now is the opportunity, hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power, to push, push, push. Those Democrats want this to be done. Let me explain how and where this works now. This is very important. The bill at issue is the fourth stimulus package. It has a lot of different names to it. Infrastructure, roads, jobs. The president calls it a different name every day. Well, let me explain what that bill is. It has infrastructure in there, it has climate, and it has tax increases. Well, the president has said yesterday, you saw that video on yesterday's LALATE, that he would not agree if someone refuses to give him any of those three items. You have to give him something of each of those three items. Guess what? The Republicans now, for over a week, it's been now 1 week, since they said, we're not giving you climate and we're not giving you tax increases. So why wait? Away we go to recon. Away we go to reconciliation. Why wait? The president specifically made his line in the sand, which is, I have to get something for all three things. And the Republicans made their line in the sand. I'm not giving you climate and I'm not giving you tax increases. Then away we go to reconciliation. Here's what you need to know then about the reconciliation process. First, you've gone through it with me before. We did this third stimulus package as reconciliation. It's the tow truck and the tow hitch. This is how it works. First, the tow truck. In the House, the president presents the option to go by reconciliation. Nancy draws it up. She calls it for a vote. They approve it. It goes to the Senate. And they decide whether they want to do another reconciliation. And then, if they agree, then the president signs into the law. That's a tow truck. It's passed over the line. Then they go back and do the tow hitch. What is actually going to be in the bill? That goes back to Nancy's subcommittees in the House of Representatives. It goes for a vote, gets passed, then goes to the Senate. And that's where the excitement, the magic happens. Nothing about stimulus checks may likely be in the bill at all until you get to that very minute at which the bill lands in the Senate. Over a 2-day period called Vote-A-Rama, Democratic and Republican senators can introduce amendments to the bill. And that is the day at which those 21 of 50 Democrats want to amend the reconciliation bill. They've done it before. Under the third stimulus package, they have modified the third stimulus package to add that $10,200 of unemployment tax-free. Remember that? That was not in there until the Vote-A-Rama. Next, Joe Manchin did that Vote-A-Rama to reduce FPUC from $400 to $300 a week. Also, Chuck and Liz, Leader Schumer and Elizabeth Warren, did the Vote-A-Rama to get the tax-free nature if the student loan debt forgiveness is forgiven by the president by executive order. They got that to law and slid that in at Vote-A-Rama. Vote-A-Rama is a very robust, very detailed 2 days of nonstop work. I didn't have this platform, this live platform then. Imagine the next Vote-A-Rama when I have this live platform with you. Wow, that is going to be nonstop broadcasting. But that's what happens. That's when they would put this in there. Well, now you know how long that takes. That's about 2 months. You want this to be done as soon as possible. This is April, May, June. You want the bill in the Senate as soon as possible. So yesterday, Joe Manchin, no, let's back up. Monday, Joe Manchin heard the first words about the bill. And what did Joe Manchin do? He held a press conference or, an interview or, had some balloons flying and, whatever gets his attention. And he said this, I don't like the bill because it's 28% tax rate. I'll do 25% tax rate. Okay, well, big deal. What's the big deal? The president said, big deal. I'll change it by 3%. It's not like Joe Manchin's asking me to change it by 20%. Instead of 28%, I'll do 25%. That was the start of the week. Then Chuck Schumer on Monday won that big war, a ruling with the Senate parliamentarian that he can do an amendment to the last reconciliation without using one of his tickets in his pocket of his upcoming reconciliations. Well, and with that, talk like this channel has said, get ready for a recon with this stimulus package. Very obvious. This has to go by reconciliation. Republicans don't want to give a stimulus check. Republicans don't want to sign this bill, so it goes by reconciliation. Very obvious. So what did he do again? This time, Joe Manchin yesterday wrote an op-ed. What's an op-ed? It's an opinion in a newspaper. You write up something, a little article, your opinion, and you submit it to a publisher. You put it in publication so the entire country can read it. And what did he write about? I'm upset with Leader Schumer trying to do this by reconciliation. Why don't you just tell Chuck that? Yeah. So why do you think Joe Manchin keeps on doing this? Now, ironically, in the same op-ed, Joe Manchin says, I'm happy to do a reconciliation. I just don't like that we keep on doing them. A little publicity? Yeah. Why do you think Joe Manchin keeps on trying to get publicity for himself? Drop in the comments. Yesterday, some viewers said they think he's trying to get a book deal. But the press secretary was asked, what do you think about this latest Joe Manchin op-ed in the newspaper? And she had a sarcastic smile when she asked, did you read it? Meaning that everyone has read it. Let's listen to her comment.
Go ahead, Caitlin.
Does the president agree with Senator Manchin that budget reconciliation should not replace regular order in the Senate?
Well, first, for those of you who read the op-ed today or didn't read the op-ed, either way, did you all read it? Oh, surprised to hear, surprised to hear. I will say there's a couple of principles the president has as it relates to engagement with Congress and how Democrats and Republicans should work together. The time has come to end these political games and to usher a new era of bipartisanship where we can find common ground on the major policy debates facing our nation. He also believes the issues facing our democracy today are not insurmountable if we choose to tackle them together. And he definitely believes that Republicans have a responsibility to stop saying no and participate in finding real compromise with Democrats.
Does he agree with this line?
Well, let me just say, those are all lines in Senator Manchin's opinion piece. Look, the president believes that there is a path forward to get in for this American Jobs Plan passed with bipartisan support. That's why he's going to invite Democrats and Republicans here. That's why he's going to hear from them on their ideas that they've already put forward. We're going to leave it to leaders in Congress to determine the mechanisms for moving things forward, but we think there should be every opportunity to do this on a bipartisan basis.
Hey, Kevin, just one more.
And there you go. It's very clear the president wants what he calls good faith effort for bipartisanship. No problem. You want to make a good faith effort to do bipartisanship? That's fine. It's not going to happen. The Republicans say they're not going to do climate, so yeah, we're done. Now, here's what you need to know that's really important for the discussion, is that the President of the United States, his Commerce Secretary, his other members of his jobs cabinet team have all said they want to hear from you. They want to hear from you about what you think should be in this fourth stimulus package. This is the time, Purple Power, to push, push, push. They say over the next 2 weeks, they want to get input from people. So call them up, write them a letter, contact them, email them, share this video on social media, Twitter, Facebook, hashtag Purple Power, hashtag MSC. Also, Commerce Secretary, not someone that would usually receive comments from the outside public. Call them up, be respectful, speak to the Chief of Staff, or the members of the Commerce Secretary's staff and says, you know what, I like your message, but here's what I think should be in the fourth stimulus package. And they may ultimately not agree with you because she's not involved with stimulus checks, but at least you get that message loud and clear. The other message you certainly want to send is, Get it done. Get it done by recon right now. It should be done by recon right now. Reconciliation. You know, if you do want to put in a good faith effort to negotiate over, a week, that's fine. But don't drag this out for a month. Don't drag this out for 2 months. Moreover, here's another twist. You can start the reconciliation process and still talk. There's nothing that stops the negotiations after you start a reconciliation process. Remember, the sooner they get this bill into the Senate, the better you are. And elsewhere, there's a lot of concerns, and among the concerns are if economies start to open faster in a way that we did not see formulate. Here's another part of that same interview, press conference yesterday, in which the press secretary is asked about this shocking new lawsuit from the state of Florida. Let me explain why this lawsuit is so important for you. Governor DeSantis, governor of Florida, and his attorney general sued the CDC, Dr. Walensky, federal agency, saying that her standards about the cruise industry are improper and illegal. Why? Here's what she's been saying. CDC has been saying you can get on a plane and fly, and airlines can operate airlines. But she's also saying cruise ships cannot operate cruise ships, even if 100% of the crew and passengers are vaccinated. Make sense? Love to hear your comment. Yes or no? Do you think it makes sense, or do you think it doesn't make sense? At issue, for purposes of stimulus, is that DeSantis wants all those hundreds of thousands of jobs from the travel industry, from the cruise industry that are based out of Florida restored. This is huge because remember what happened last week? Of the 900,000, 1 million jobs restored last week, the single largest component was leisure and hospitality, travel. 250,000 of the 1 million jobs restored last week were from travel. Imagine the input of every governor fighting over the shutdowns of their leisure and travel industry. Let's listen into a response from the White House to that comment yesterday.
On those engagements today in his briefing. Go ahead, Francesca.
Jen, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced a lawsuit today against the CDC and the federal government demanding that cruise liners be able to operate again. And Florida's Attorney General said the suit was filed this morning against those entities and HHS, pushing to have the government's conditional sale order declared unlawful. Does the White House have a response to Florida's lawsuit?
We don't have a direct response to a lawsuit nor a comment on a specific legal action, but I will just reiterate that the CDC guidance is based on data and health and medical guidelines. Hence, that's why they put it out and why they regularly update it.
The president has set forth July 4th as the date he'd like to see Americans who are vaccinated be able to gather in small groups. At the same time, the CDC said last week that there's a low risk for vaccinated Americans who travel. So does the president think it's an appropriate timeline of July 4th? That's what the cruise industry, specifically Norwegian travel, is asking for, is the July 4th date here.
We would defer to the CDC on any updated guidelines, but I don't anticipate that. But I would defer to them on any expectation they have of changing those guidelines. Again, they base them on health and medical experts who work at the CDC. They base them on data. The president's announcement on July 4th has nothing to do with cruise lines, as you know. It has to do with incentivizing, encouraging Americans to get access to the vaccine when they can get vaccinated. As we know, by the end of May, we will have enough vaccine supply to ensure every adult American can be vaccinated. So that's more about gatherings, small gatherings in your backyards, which is quite different from cruises, of course.
And with that, let's look back at this number. The new unemployment claims released yesterday, 744,000. It's an enormous number. It's an enormous growth. The number is not improving. It's getting worse. And the continuing jobless claims continue to get worse as well. Not necessarily improving, 16,000 down. That's relatively flat. What's important to understand is that fourth stimulus package needs to get to the Senate as soon as possible. The speed is really a big issue. It's more than even just missing a monthly check across the board. It's that you don't know if this economy is going to rebound, and you don't know if the jobs are going to be restored. Actions like the DeSantis matter, questions a lot of things, and certainly how quickly this economy can be restored. Yesterday, the Energy Secretary spoke a little bit about this jobs plan.
Broadband that brings the world and learning to our children. It's the broadband that brings economic opportunity to our businesses. Of course, it's the electrical grid that keeps the lights on after what happened in Texas, can anybody really doubt that electricity and the electric grid is part of the foundation of who we are as a nation, and we need to invest in it if we want to make sure power keeps coming to our homes.
But then the big issue, of course, is who gets it. And we had that clarity. We just had the clarity. We just had the question of how soon they can get this done. $75,000 or less, you get a monthly stimulus check. Household of 4 or less, you would get a monthly stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, rural benefits, you would get a monthly stimulus check. It would be done by that vote-a-rama as soon as the bill gets to the Senate. And away we go. It's absolutely likely, possible, and can happen. The question is how soon. Meantime, if you're missing that third stimulus check, here's a couple of things to wonder. First, wait. More stimulus checks could be coming in another wave. We'll find out later today, this Friday, there's going to be another wave of direct deposits next Wednesday. Also, watch for mail checks. Boy, mail checks are still coming. They are still coming. Also, if you missed that first or second or third check, there's going to be guidance from CDC as to how, IRS as to how to request those missing stimulus checks. And I'll be covering more about those missing stimulus checks throughout the day here on LALATE. And if you got an extra check, and yes, there's people who did, we'll wait for those guidance as well. Meantime, stay with LA for continuing coverage of the Masters all weekend long. I'll be giving you short updates. It runs Thursday to Sunday. It's a $1.5 million purse. Defending champion is Dustin Johnson. Second round action gets underway today, Friday morning. I'm so excited for you, and thank you for joining me on a big day. How you doing? The toast is toast and the butter is butter, and I'm here, you're here. You got the stimulus check. Now all we need is some bacon. And away we go. As we go into the new morning, stay informed, stay focused. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button. Remember, it's our 1-year anniversary coming up in just a few weeks, so let's get to 400,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, like the video. The more likes you give, the better it helps in the algorithm ranking. Let's try to do 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 likes. Thank you for staying with me, and thank you for watching this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and see you on Mornings LA at 9. Stay with LA for more.